It's the late 1980s in a Melbourne backyard.
D-E-C-I-P-H-E-R-I-N-G.
Deciphering.
Deciphering, what does that mean?
It means kind of decoding. If your writing is very bad, somebody can understand it and turn it into something understandable.
Behind the camera is a master decoder of political spin, John Clarke. His voice familiar from 1,000 skits.
Now, we better get going.
The older girl is Lorin Clarke, whose book about her family is published this week.
No!
It's about the family tree and like what makes you who you are, what makes you decide to be different from your parents, what you have no control over. All of that stuff kind of defines how you are for the rest of your life.
Dad, I've got tunnel vision.
We cannot hear what you're saying.
When this backyard scene was filmed, John Clarke was already famous.
Little hard to start, runs like a haunted shithouse for a bit, but once she warms up, goes like a strangled fart.
Through political satire in Australia,
Severe crime restrictions will come into force across Australia from midnight tonight. It is time to start at 12. Except in South Australia, where midnight's at 11:15, Western Australia, where it's at 10 to 10, and Queensland, where it's been midnight since just after the war. You might notice some of them are a little bit fuzzy around the edges.
and across the Tasman, his Kiwi farmer, Fred Dagg, was a cultural institution.
Simplicity. It's an extremely simple scheme.
Well, can you tell me how it will work?
Yeah, if you've got a couple of hours. First of all, it will involve the payment of huge amounts of money to me, and eventually, over a period of time, I'll give it back to you.
Fred Dagg was a character that Dad did on New Zealand TV when he was 24. He had long hair, he had a cigarette in one hand, a beer in the other. He was usually lying down. He just could not have been more slovenly.
As Fred Dagg's catchphrases became part of the New Zealand lexicon,
Sit down!
His own father refused to see him perform.
For my grandfather, his father, that was like a red rag to a bull, because Ted, my grandfather, defined himself. He was a migrant kid with like a really humble beginnings, and he defined himself according to that kind of, you know, socks pulled up, straight back, I'm a citizen who deserves to be treated just like everybody else.
Trouble at home and school inspired later characters, like the principal admonishing schoolboy John Howard.
What about this one? Here, if you invade a country and create a power vacuum, what is the next phase of that country's history?
Peace and democracy.
See?
Every time.
You would have romped it in.
The Clarke home nurtured wordplay, a repository of in-jokes and secret language.
Isn't this amazing, this thing up here? So, here we have a bunch of things.
A folder of keepsakes is an insight into John's sense of farce.
These are the envelopes that he used to send book club money and so on to the school in, because the school newsletter always said, please return your money for book club in a named sealed envelope. So this says, Lorin Clarke's book club money in a named sealed envelope, as you might expect. Lorin Clarke's book club money in a nominated fixed receptacle. And they go on from there, and they are completely ludicrous. The ones that I really like are the music ones. Lorin Clarke's money 2, 3, and permission 2, 3 for the music camp. Yes, the music camp. It's the music camp. Yeah, baby. What a show off. A very John Clarke thing to pillory a sort of set system kind of thing, like please return an envelope in a, you know, that sort of thing. But it's also more than that. It represents to me a connection between me and him, and the kind of joyful creativity that extended to all parts of who Dad was.
Yeah, g'day.
He would never say a sentence if he could say it normally, but he could also say it interestingly. He'd pick interestingly every time.
Some time ago, Australia discovered there was quite a lot of uranium lurking about immediately beneath the lucky country, and it was widely recognised that by disinterring the wondrous yellow hoard, we'd be able to keep ourselves in the style to which certain of our number would appear to have become accustomed.
He played with language in ways that made you absolutely, you know, it would get to the very heart of what the rhythm of the language was.
Childhood battles with an expert satirist were not easy.
Hang on a minute, what's that thing in the bottom of the screen?
That's the worm.
No, this is the worm over here. What's the thing in the bottom of the screen?
Brian Dorr told me years later, after Dad died, that he'd look at his forehead and he wouldn't look into his eyes, because once you did that, if he was making you laugh, you were gone. So you just lost every argument. It was very annoying as a teenager.
What are you going to do about unemployment? What we've done is that we got an economy debilitated and broken down after years of your mismanagement, Madonna's breasts. And what we have done is that we have dragged this economy through the policies of reform of our government. And what we have done, John, Christmas dinner with the family,